within the county. You see Tony's group out, they do traffic counts on a regular basis. We look at that, we take existing traffic counts, we look at what development has come in and been approved, as well as applying a growth factor, a historic growth factor. We look at how the traffic has grown, and we throw that traffic out to project when these roadways will reach their capacity. That allows us, from a planning perspective, to try to be ahead of what improvements need to be made. It does take us quite a while to get through the planning process, design, right-of-way, and construction to be able to have that additional capacity. So this is our latest annual update inventory report. And the areas shown in red are areas that have reached their capacity. Within our 5-year capital improvement program, we have solutions for a majority of those. The next ones are items within the next 5 years. You see Goodlet Frank and also US 41. So we are now working on items that we can start bringing into the plan. But most importantly, you see Immokalee Road in this area. And so that is expected to reach its capacity in the next 5 to 10 years. And so I'm going to start talking about some of the items that we have in place to address those levels of congestion. When we do our annual update inventory report, we base our traffic based on the PM peak and the peak hour direction. So we're looking at traffic just in those from 4 to 6 p.m. And we build our roadways to try to address that level of traffic. So when we say that a project has, or a roadway has reached its capacity, it is during that time frame. Now you might experience areas of delay during other parts of the day, but that's really what we're measuring. It's not an all day, we're in gridlock. So these are some of the planning studies we have coming up. On this map here, you have our 4 urban interchanges: Exit 101, Collier Boulevard, you have Golden Gate Parkway, Pine Ridge Road, and Immokalee Road. Those are our 4 areas to be able to get to the interstate. Those are the 4 roadways that experience congestion during our peak times in the morning and at night. The Collier Boulevard interchange, the Florida Department of Transportation in 2021 has an improvement to rebuild the interchange. It's a $110 million fix. I'll show you the actual plans for that here in a little bit, but that will provide some relief in that area. The county just recently completed a study of Pine Ridge Road to look at operational improvements that would allow Pine Ridge Road to work more efficiently, and that also includes improvements at the interchange. As part of our study on Pine Ridge Road, and also through our Metropolitan Planning Organization process, we, along with your commissioner, have been yelling and screaming at FDOT saying we need you to look at our interchanges. Our interchanges are really letting down our local network. So the Florida Department of Transportation has looked at our interchanges and agreed that Pine Ridge Road and Immokalee Road are experiencing some difficulties. And so they also started studying both interchanges to look at, are there some interim improvements that can be put in place to make those interchanges work better. But I always tell people,
that's embarrassing. Jeez.
are you okay back there?
I'm
You're not throwing tables, are you?
Are you okay?
I'm good. Sorry about that.
And I don't want to forget about I-75 and Golden Gate Parkway. It also experiences congestion, and we do believe that there are some low-cost fixes that could be put in place. But fixing our interchanges does nothing unless we look at the main line of I-75. You all experience this pretty much daily through season when I-75 is backed up north of Bonita Beach Road, between Bonita Beach Road and Corkscrew, and that really messes up Immokalee Road. So the Florida Department of Transportation is also embarking on a study to look at the I-75 main line from Exit 101 all the way up into Lee County to look at additional improvements there. Another initiative that we're going to be starting here soon is looking at operational efficiencies. What can we do to have Immokalee Road work better? So we're going to look at from Collier Boulevard over to Livingston Road and see what we can do with working with the intersections to see how we can get those to move traffic a little bit better. We just finished one on Pine Ridge Road, and we found that by fixing 3 intersections, we can increase the capacity by 30%, and it's really, they're relatively low-cost fixes that we can do. Now, low cost in transportation world is still a lot of money. So some of the things that I get asked a lot is, I-75 Immokalee Road, why is it not a cloverleaf? Why is it not a cloverleaf? Why do you not have loops to get onto the interstate? And the original plan when we rebuilt this interchange back in the mid-2000s was to have a partial cloverleaf. It would have had, when you would get on the interstate, if you were going eastbound, you would loop around, just like you do on Golden Gate Parkway. The other item that we had was dual right turn lanes that would go up and get onto the interstate. Unfortunately, those were cut due to budget constraints. When I-75 was put out to bid, that project was the largest project that FDOT had ever done as a design-build project. And when the bids came in, they came in much higher, and FDOT's first thing was, well, we'll just cut the Immokalee Road interchange. And the Collier County staff jumped in. We wound up getting a loan and getting a lot of grant funds to salvage that project to get some improvements because we were going to be next. And so we do have the Diamond Interchange. And I'm going to talk about Pine Ridge Road here in a few minutes because we think that there's some improvements that can be made at this interchange that will help this interchange tremendously. Another question I get a lot is, why is there no interchange at Vanderbilt Beach Road? So on the left is a diamond interchange at Pine Ridge Road, and on the right is the actual aerial from Vanderbilt Beach Road. You see how impactful that would be on the built environment today. But that interchange was studied. It was studied when FDOT looked at the interstate many years ago. And the interstate is meant for regional travel. Now I'll tell you, I'm the first one to get on at Pine Ridge Road and get off at Immokalee Road, but that is not the intent of the interstate. The interstate is for regional travel. And when FDOT and Federal Highway were going through this study, they determined that the amount of traffic that would be utilizing that Vanderbilt Beach Road corridor was majority local traffic, and so not the intent of the interstate, so they did pull that. What I will tell you is, I get a lot of people who say that they want it. I get a lot of people who say, please, don't put an interchange there. We need one east-west road in this town that does not have the interstate in there. So, we have noted to FDOT that as their study that will probably come up, so they'll be prepared to talk about it. So as part of their interstate study, I'm sure that that's going to come up, and they'll model it and look at it as well. So I mentioned I-75 at Collier Boulevard, exit 101. We're doing a cloverleaf. This is a $110 million improvement. You see that we've got the loops on either side of the interchange. The other thing with this interchange is, if you are coming north from Marco Island, the roadway will be elevated over Davis Boulevard. So that will help with the congestion at that very important intersection as well as when you're getting off of the interstate, if you're going to continue southbound, you will be elevated over Davis Boulevard. So you'll go right over Davis. Once again, Florida Department of Transportation starting construction in 2021. It's about $110 million. So I mentioned that we've been looking at Pine Ridge Road and trying to look at alternatives to the interchange that would work in a manner that would be lower cost interim improvements without having to rebuild the ramps and the bridges. And so what we are looking at for Pine Ridge Road, what we have recommended to Florida Department of Transportation, and what I think would work really well for the Immokalee interchange, because you do have the pavement, is what's called a diverging diamond. A diverging diamond, this is Pine Ridge Road and the interstate. A diverging diamond is nothing.
It's hard to explain.
I guess the engineer didn't like it. The planner likes it, engineer didn't. Actually, the engineer likes it too, so. Let's see if my computer stops.